It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 115. Today, my name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yo, today we have Allen Hahn, COO, United Veterans Construction and Landscape Solutions Incorporated, and the president and founder of the Apache Warrior Foundation. How you doing, Allen?
Great. Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on. Sorry about the gap in time there. I guess our editor can get rid of that. So, well, hey, really appreciate you coming on. Wanted to, we could definitely hear as you're going to speak more where you're from. Definitely not a California boy, which we appreciate. But if you could give us some background in terms of who you are, how you ended up in the construction industry, and also, we'd love to hear a lot about the Apache Warrior Foundation as well.
Well, I just started this job as the COO on November 11th, applicably, because that was Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I had a career for 25 years in the military. 22 and a half of it was in on active duty as an attack helicopter pilot. Retired as a lieutenant colonel. Prior to that, I was in the Texas Army National Guard for 2.5 years as an M1 tank crewman, got out as a sergeant. So 25 total years at that. And then 10 years prior to that, I was working for the state of Texas. And then
thank you for your service, first of all. Appreciate that.
Thanks for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. So after retirement, I was sitting on an island in the Southern Caribbean, enjoying the 86-degree weather.
Sounds nice.
It was awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And I had a company track me down and locate me and said, "Hey, we'd like to utilize your skill set." And I said, "Which one?" And so went to work for a company called Scientific Research Corporation, doing some personnel recovery, tactics, techniques, and procedures writing. And after I did that, I was there about 6 months. Secretary of Defense decided he was going to cut 40 contracts. So my contract got cut. And so I came back home to Texas. And so I was here. A guy named Tim Vela, who is the CEO of UVETS, we shortened that big long title down to UVETS. Tim invited me to come see his operation, but he wanted to learn more about the Apache Warrior Foundation. And so I sat and we talked for several hours. And by the time everything was said and done, next thing you know, I was coming back for a job interview. So wasn't looking for a job when I found this one, but
just talked yourself into it though, huh?
Basically, yeah, it's kind of, my wife's like, "What do you know about landscaping and construction? That seems kind of odd for your skill set." And I said, "Well, it's management,
right?
At the end of the day, it's management. It's coming in, and a lot of the stuff that I have learned over the last almost 3 decades, it can be applied in the civilian world. And so the transition is a little difficult if you're spending that much time in the military. We have a whole different vernacular. We're used to things going a certain way, and in the civilian world, it doesn't always work that way. So, it's been an extremely eye-opening experience for me personally. I may not know a lot about landscaping. My mom and dad, what I learned was from my mom and dad in East Texas. We had a garden in the yard. And always, I was in charge of mowing the yard and then landscaping the bushes and the beds and putting flowers in year round. And so nothing on the professional side.
Right.
It's kind of how I got involved in this.
So maybe speak to that transition a little bit. I know, obviously there was a transition from, the military world to the civilian world, but more just kind of into that space of construction and contractors and learning all those things. Did you have mentors or, what was that learning process like for you?
Oh, it's like drinking from a fire hose, to be honest with you. If that's an example we always used in the military, and it's applicable even today. I'm sitting here in the office right now. I've got television monitor that's up. It shows me all of our operations. One of the beautiful things about UVETS is one of their core items that they advertise, or we advertise, is our technology-driven capability. So we use items like Aspire, Go Ilon, where you can open up a commercial property. You can log where every single tree, bush, shrub, you name it, is, ornamental grasses. You go through, and we know exactly how long it's going to take us to mow a section, how long it's going to take to maintain or do portering services. So we kind of streamline it to help save the customer, the customer some money. We also do irrigation, and on our irrigation, there's an investment. It's kind of like solar panels. That's a big thing right now in the country is, hey, let's put solar panels on the side of your house, and then that, over time, it will save you money. We do the same thing except in irrigation. We save you money on your watering cost because we have automatic controllers. When it's raining, they come up and they say, hey, it's raining, so we're not going to run today. There's monitors in the soil that tell you how much water's in the soil. If it gets dry, hey, we're going to turn on and run it for 5 minutes from this time period to this time period, and then the computer system takes over and runs it. So it turns around, it saves you quite a bit of money. It also saves, conserves that fresh water, so it's not getting wasted. Yeah. So learning those types of programs is just detail driven, and learning it. Being an attack pilot, it's not really that hard because, hell, I flew the most sophisticated attack helicopter in the world. So it's nothing but computers. So it's a giant flying computer, but interfacing how getting the particulars, how the company likes it done and how it's set up, it takes a little time, just like any other job. Learning to talk with civilians is a huge transition.
I was going to say, how's that? I mean, that was going to be my next question. What is the management transition been like, right? I mean, you're used to that management style in the military, which I have to imagine it's probably well received with a small percentage of employees, right? But obviously not for everybody.
Right. Our employee base is about 25% military veterans. And so it's funny because talking with one of the site managers a couple of days ago, he was talking with the CEO and he goes, it's been great having Mr. Hahn come in because when I talked to you, sir, I just didn't really understand everything you were saying, but Mr. Hahn kind of translates it to where I understood it. So it made sense. So it is a vernacular thing. It really is. Yeah. We can sit here and have a conversation all day long, with my guys, and people are like, what are they talking about? Are they talking English? What are they saying? So sometimes it's just really, really difficult. I mean, employers, this one happens to be one of the few that's actually understanding, the veteran community and what we bring to the table. We don't always have a list of degrees and certificates and everything. Yeah. And my wife, she just graduated from Texas Women's University, and she has a master's in business administration. So she told me, she goes, hey, look, now my name's got a bunch of letters after it.
Yeah.
Hey, great. I don't know what any of that means, but awesome. I don't. So, it's the same premise. I mean, we come out, there's an old saying, kids from the 80s would probably have heard this one too. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
Mr. Vela, when he hired me, he goes, you may not have a master's in business administration, but honestly, you're going to learn that master's and earn that master's
on the job,
in the COO job.
Yeah.
So I won't have a fancy degree or anything at the end of all this, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
Coming in, it's been challenging too, because you're learning an industry that you haven't been in before, number one. Then you're learning individual company processes, what's there, what's working. And then if you screw something up, you got to go fix it. So, and I screw things up almost at least once a day so I can go back and fix it. So it's that reinforcement. Exactly. You got to practice,
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting, and there's things that, talking with customers and clients it's been rewarding. I mean, I go out, went out with a guy who's been in the industry for 35 years. He's an awesome designer. And I watched him just walk with a client, and it was so smooth and just, it's almost like a waltz. I mean, he was just all over it. And the client was right there with him. That's something you have to sit there and you just learn by experience.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to sit there and watch how he did that. So will I ever be that smooth with a client in this? Probably not as smooth as he is. No.
Right.
But will I get
you have other people though, right?
Exactly. It's a team effort. Nothing's an individual effort.
Right.
And that's sometimes you run in that, in a civilian world, you see a lot of, well, I do this and I do that. Well, we do this and we do that is what you bring to the table, and you start helping develop those teams, bringing that all together.
Yep.
So it's been kind of cool watching how some of the stuff, intermixes, and I get to learn a whole new language.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because I mean, the military, I know, and it's one of the things I love about the military, is very structured, right? And very systematic. And there's a reason why everything is done, and, that little chain of command and everything else. How much of that have you brought to where you're at now? Are there systems or things that you have implemented as you've seen areas of opportunity based on that mindset?
One of the things that the owner, he was not in the military. His son's in ROTC in college, and he just has a huge respect for the military. And so what he's tried to do is develop his business, morph it in the last 4 years into a more military-centric organization. So some of the terminology, he's learning some new terms. He comes up, I throw some concepts at him. He's adopted some. One of the things that we do is after action reviews, or AARs. I don't know if y'all are familiar with those.
Yeah. Yep.
So in the military, every time we do an operation or a mission, we would turn around at the end of the day, take a breath, set back. All right, now let's talk about what happened. So here was the plan. Here's what came out in the rehearsals. This is what we executed. So what actually happened, and then what worked, what didn't work, where do we need to improve it, and how do we incorporate it? Who's responsible for each of these, these improvements? And so we've been able to do some of that here. So we do a huge project. Let's get together. We have an after action review or a hot wash on site, so we can capture some of that fresh data right then and there, so that you can come in and go, okay, well, this didn't work very well for us. We need to adjust in our estimator, or hey, our application, this was great, spot on. Let's make sure we maintain that so we can push that forward. So in that area, bringing in, some of the after action review stuff. One of the things that I've noticed, problem solving is pretty much the same between the military and civilians. It's just y'all have different terms than what we're used to. In the military, we call it the military decision-making process. You have a mission analysis, course of action development, the course of action comparison, seeing how they compare to each other, and then a course of action approval, and then you go into production for the mission so that you can go execute. Basically, business, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It really is. So you research your information, evaluate alternatives. Do we purchase something? Do we not need to purchase something? If we purchase it, what's the post-purchase evaluation of what we did? So it's basically the same exact thing. It's just different words.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. From an employee standpoint, are you guys specifically looking to hire from the military background, or obviously is it where are you getting them? I guess where are you most successful?
Right now, COVID's just, it's a killer across the country.
Yeah, in
more ways than one. Trying to get good help. Yeah, we go to multiple sources. We use the hiring sites like Indeed and those kind of sites. We actually go to colleges and universities. We look at the recent graduates or those that are getting ready to graduate. We talk to the educational folks, get ties in so that, hey, here's a possible lead for you as a student, and that student gets and goes, yeah, I'll check it out, or I'm not interested.
Right.
So you look there. We do look at the veteran community. Hire heroes is one, and there's several others that we talk to folks. Because again, in the Army, we don't really have a lot of landscape experience. We've got 237 MOSs. Landscaping's not one of them. Other than basic training when it's, hey, private, go paint that rock blue. Okay. Yeah. That's about our landscaping. I mean, we adjust people's landscape, through artillery and stuff like that. But,
we move dirt.
We move dirt. We've got engineers. We have vertical and horizontal engineers in the Army. We can do this stuff. So yeah, it's, for us, it's a balancing act, because you look for that talent that, is out there that knows landscaping so well. But you're in a competition with other landscape companies that are doing the same thing. They're looking for that help. All of our employees have to pass a background check. Everything's above board. So we're a little bit different than a lot of landscape companies, because some companies, there's companies out there, they'll hire anybody, they don't care. We're a little bit more picky than that. Mm-hmm. Because we want to make sure that when we go to a client's property, they see what we're doing, and they know that they can count and trust us as employees on their property. So that's why we're a little bit more choosy in that. Mr. Vila's got some awesome guys that work here that have been in the industry for many years. So we'll take some of our newer guys, we'll put them with the older guys, get them trained so they can learn from the older guys so that we can move them up and forward. So we try and move folks within the company up, but sometimes it's, it's just not practical.
Right.
Because you have certain things like a plant health specialist. Those are specific degrees and certifications that are there. So you're looking at the horticultural experience there. A lot of times you're going to find that at a university like Texas A&M, Texas Christian University, or other universities like that are out there. Universities in California, even if we can get somebody and they want to come here to Texas, we'll take them too. But what we try and do is we try and find the best fit, so we have the right person in the right seat that has the capacity to do it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And so if we can find that, sometimes we have a walk-on. It's kind of like football. You sit there and you have the draft, and you're drafting and all these people, and then all of a sudden you get this dude that walks in and goes, hey, I'd like to play football with you. And you give him a tryout, and he's just phenomenal, and that becomes, your best player on your team. Sometimes it works out here as well. So word of mouth, referrals, that kind of thing. Anywhere I can find a body that's kind of creative and can do this, and then if they're former military, even better. If they've got military ties through family members, a dad that flew aircraft, or, was an infantry guy, or, hey, my grandfather was in World War II, that kind of stuff. Hey, even better. But it's across the board. It's not, we're only stovepiped into one genre of personnel.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what was it about? I'm assuming that dinner that you had with Mr. Vila a few months ago was not, from what I heard before, was not a, hey, he needs to fill a position maybe. And you were obviously weren't looking for a job. So what was it about that dinner, or was he, maybe he was looking to fill that position? What was it about that dinner that kind of turned the tide and brought you into working for UVETS?
Well, one of the things that one of our purpose here is we want to give veterans opportunities that they don't normally have.
Yep.
And so, for me, I have an entrepreneurial spirit that I was looking at with my wife, looking, to open a business, strangely enough, on an island in the Southern Caribbean. But, it was really cool because here I get to take some of the things that I've learned over the years in the military, as far as the management piece of it goes, and incorporate it with new information on all the systems and the business portion from a civilian perspective, so that they come together, which basically makes me a little bit more well-rounded and allows me to continuously learn every day, because when you stop learning, you're dead.
Yep.
So for me, talking with him, it's a growing company, and the long-range vision is being able to expand the company in multiple cities. Well, to do that, you've got to come up with a system that allows you to expand. So for us, we were sitting there going, what if we were to expand, what would we call these? And so how about calling it a FOB, Forward Operating Base, military term.
Yep.
We use it in combat. He liked it, so we're looking at creating FOBs now. That's in the 1 to 2 year plan, down range. But to get there, you've got to make some changes and build up some things here. Plus, you have to have that blue book that's in place that tells you, hey, this is how you do cells. This is how you do maintenance. Here's what you do for fleet maintenance. Here's what you do for PHC. Here's what you do for water management, and then lay it all out. And then when you get everything to where it's functioning properly, it's seamless transition from business development down through execution and completion of the mission, or in this case, the project with the client for that landscape construction. Once we get that lined out and we've got it just nailed right, then we can package that together and create our first FOB. And then the first FOB, it looks a lot like what we do here, but it's in another location. It's still UVETS, and 10 years down the road, would we like to be out of Texas and into other states? Yeah. At some point we'd like to be all over the U.S. Mm-hmm. People say, oh, UVETS landscape construction. Yeah, we know them. Hey, let's get those guys on board. And if it's mostly veterans or 50% veterans, even better as far as I'm looking at it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe we back up a little bit. What kind of work are you guys doing? Is it more commercial or residential?
We do commercial. We've got 3 residents that we do, but we, most of our stuff is commercial, from large corporations down to homeowner associations where you're doing the common areas, and these are huge areas for them. So it's just different businesses in the area, big, small. It keeps you busy.
Yeah. Are you involved at all in the marketing aspect of what you guys do?
I haven't gotten that far along into it yet. I know the superficial portion of it. Mr. Vila and a couple other folks are heavy into the marketing piece. As I get the operations piece understood, then I expand my growth into the marketing, so I understand the marketing from a COO's perspective.
Right. So are you aware at all right now, like where you guys are generating business or what's been successful for you guys?
Unfortunately, not to where I can discuss it intelligently. Yeah. You'd all laugh at me. So
that's awesome. So let's hear a little bit about the foundation that you founded. I'm curious what the impetus behind that was and what you guys do.
Well, I created the concept of the foundation in 2007. So that's 13 years ago. 14 years ago now. I was in Iraq. I kept seeing all these tribute trucks. You know, the guy who built a Humvee that he painted up for all the services. And then there was another guy who had a vehicle for the U.S. Marine Corps and all this. And I was like, you know, that's pretty cool. I want to think of something like that, because I had lost several friends and up at that point. But I pushed it all back in the back of my brain and said, I'll worry about it later. Kind of busy in combat. So then about 8 years ago, I met a young lady and talked to a buddy of mine who's also a retired lieutenant colonel now, a couple of warrant officers, and said, hey, I want to create a nonprofit organization, and I want to target our community. And so everybody's like, hey, this sounds great. What we ended up the concept was honor, heal, and educate. Those are the 3 tenets of the organization. So we honor our fallen, but more importantly, we honor our living, the guys left behind. You know, everybody that's experienced death, if you've had somebody that's really close to you, you know, you've probably had it in your brain where you sit there and go, why them? Or, you know, you're in an accident and someone with you gets killed and you're alive. Why did that happen? You know, before the show, I told you all about Dion and Orange County, leading the community there. You know, that was one of their biggest questions. Why did this happen? Why him? Why not someone else? Our community was the same way. Why did so-and-so live and I'm still here, and then myself included? I've buried 9 of my guys in a 4-year period. So it's kind of a hard time for me. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone was honored. And I learned that from a guy named H. Ross Perot. Y'all may have heard of him before.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to meet him because I wanted to ask him the virality of this story I'm getting ready to tell you. After the Vietnam War, they had a committee, and he was part of this committee to come up with a memorial to honor the Vietnam War. And so if you go to DC, you've seen the famous wall there and the statue of the 3 soldiers, you know. Well, a lot of people don't know that the wall was designed by a 13-year-old Vietnamese girl or Asian girl.
Wow.
Before that design was picked, though, H. Ross Perot came in one day and he was sitting there looking at all the different, there's about 10 designs. I think it was the top 10. And reportedly, he looked at all of them and he looked around the room and said, which one of these honor the living? What? What do you mean? We're honoring the fallen. He goes, no, which one of these honors the living? And he said, well, none of them. H. Ross Perot said, see ya. He turned around and walked out. So what I took from that was, you know, it's imperative and even more important that we do honor our guys left behind and girls. You know, it's just, and if you've never been there, I hope to God that you're never in that position. But it is really, it's very taxing. It's very difficult. And so that's why we came up with that one. And then on the other side of the house is healing, the second tenet. You know, my community is extremely angry anyways, but, you know, you get stuff like PTSD involved, post-traumatic stress. And, you know, for the longest time, I was sitting there going, I don't have PTSD. I might have PTS, you know, I have post-traumatic stress, but I don't have any of that disordered crap. And I learned that I did. And so in 2011, I was diagnosed moderate PTSD, fully functional, non-medicated, basically because I don't take medications anyways, and I wouldn't take them if they offered them to me. And so I found an organization that said, hey, we can help you out. And I was like, okay. So I'm sorry, I said 2011, that was 2015. I said, yeah, I need some help. So let's do it. And so I went through a program that did cognitive process therapy. And at the end of that, I can't say that I felt any different, but I could tell my girlfriend at the time, she said, you know, she could tell a difference, and I could tell a difference. And especially in crowded situations, public areas, things like that, much different response. So fast forward to November of 18, right before I retire, I get reevaluated for post-traumatic stress. They come back and they said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but you have no indicators of PTSD. So we were able to reverse my PTSD through the cognitive process therapy. And so I still have that organization to send any veteran through that. You know, the only requirement I have is they have to call me or text me and say, hey, I need some help.
Yeah. And
I'll help them, because cognitive process therapy is one of those things that it's 100% return on investment. And if you go in and give it a half effort, you're getting a half effort in return. If you go in and you give it everything you got, the 100%, you push it, you go, it's going to come back to you probably more than 100%. But you know, I know for me personally, it has helped. And, you know, like everything else, there's a caveat. They said, hey, you know, in a year or 2 years or 3 years, you may have 1 or 2 indicators, but we don't think you'll ever have full-blown PTSD. For the organization, the foundation, what we also do is we do what we call attack adventures. We've taken guys out fishing. We take them fly fishing up in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. We'll fly them in from all over the country. Take them up there. We link up with another nonprofit organization and spend 3 days during the week to go in and just have an awesome time. And hell, they're having therapy and they don't even know it, because when they come off the water and they're all sitting there around talking. I had a guy who had been out of attack aviation for 15 years. I had guys that were still in, and they were like, you know, they get to talking, and just watching the camaraderie that comes back around to them is just amazing. We also did we took 6 couples on a Operation Reconnect, because when you're in the military, and especially in the, you know, our recent past, multiple tours, you're away from your wife and kids.
Well, one of the things that,
13, 14, 15 months, you know. And so one of the things that we noticed, that there was a need to bring the spouses together. And I'm not sure how many organizations that are out there that actually do anything for the spouses.
Yeah,
a lot of organizations do for kids,
right?
You know, and stuff. But we were like, hey, let's do Operation Reconnect. So what did we do? We flew in 6 couples from all over the country, got them down to Miami, and then we flew them down to an island in the Caribbean and spent 6 days down there. And I mean, they didn't have anything to do. They didn't have to cook their meals. We provided the meals for them. And transportation we provided, all the way from their homes to Miami, down to the island and back again. All they had to do and all they had to spend was, I don't any of our events, I don't provide alcohol for anything. And trinkets, sightseeing things you want to buy and take home, souvenirs, that kind of thing, that's on y'all. And we took them down, and it was an awesome time. And the feedback, hell, all 6 couples were like, hey, we'll volunteer to come work your next Operation Reconnect to help other couples out. And so to have 100% return on that investment for us, huge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We had one scheduled, and then of course COVID hit, and you can't get to the island right now. They just opened the island back up this past month, but still all the restrictions and everything, we're kind of dead in the water right now with that. Yeah. And then the last thing on the third tenet is education. What we do is we have a full-length motion picture called Apache Warrior. It was on Netflix, just came off of Netflix. I think it's still on Amazon Prime Video. You can still find it there, and there's some other locations you can find it. But it's called Apache Warrior. It puts you in the 2003 Karbala deep attack on March 23rd and 24th of 2008.
Wow.
And it actually puts you in 6 aircraft from 6.6 Cavalry that you're in there. You see it. It's not a Hollywood generation type thing. This is, it's videotapes taken out of the gun tapes from the aircraft. There was 38 aircraft involved in that deep attack. 3 units were only looking at one small section. And it is a docudrama, so there is a drama element that's built into it. And, depending on your perspective, the Karbala deep attack wasn't Army Aviation's greatest fight, but the information that came out of it was really, really good stuff.
That sounds right up my alley. I'm in that one for sure.
Check it out. If you can't find it, let me know, and I'll get you something offline.
All right.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to circle back to that Operation Reconnect that you're doing with those couples. I'm assuming some of these couples have kids too, right?
They do. What they do is we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do for the kids, but for the couples, honestly, all of them are like, hey, we'll find relatives to send the kids to. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so we worked it out when it was around the school schedules, spring break schedules and summer break schedules, and you figure out when you can get max participation, and then the couples work it out to get their kids somewhere. So it's just the husband and the wife, or the spouse.
Well, and I got to imagine too, and my thought process when you were telling me this is, you just mentioned that you don't know if you were doing anything for the kids. I actually think you're doing more than you can ever think of. A lot of these kids with their parents coming back together, they don't have them for 6 days or whatever,
right,
but they get the benefits of that reconnect that comes, because I'm sure stuff comes out when you don't have all the distractions that you guys are pulling them away from, life, work, children, for that matter, routine, all that. When that's pulled away and you're there with your spouse and you have to kind of figure things out, or just enjoy each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think the benefits that come as a result of that, especially with a parent that's in the military that goes on deployments for long periods of time, I think those will have long lasting benefits for decades to come. I think for their families and their children. That's awesome. I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's, I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, we have seen that. My wife, she volunteered with Snowball Express for several years, and Snowball Express, the Gary Sinise Foundation has actually taken that portion over. And what that does is it's a program where fallen service members' kids go and get to do activities. And Gary Sinise, the first one I think was, I can always get them screwed up. You all have Disney World?
Disneyland.
Disneyland out here. Yeah.
He takes like 100 or something kids out there every year, right?
Yep. He takes Snowball Express kids out, and they have a great time. And my wife, listening to her when she was doing that, and the connection that you make with these kids, it's crazy, because you'll run into service members that have committed suicide, and so that healing portion that we talked about with the PTSD, we actually work, to help stem some of the suicide thoughts and ideations that service members have through the program. And she met this one little girl at an event, and the little girl, when she introduced herself, she said, "Hi, my name is so and so, and my daddy killed himself." And when they get older, kids of parents that have committed suicide are more likely to commit suicide themselves. So, there's a huge peace support structure there that, you want to try and build and work with folks so that they know, hey, you don't have to go that route. And for service members, it's hard. It really is. I mean, I haven't looked at the latest statistics in the last year and a half, but 2 years ago, it was 22 a day were killing themselves. So a lot of organizations are like, hey, we're bringing, awareness to this. I wanted to do more than bring awareness. That's why I said, hey, I need to find some help. I found the help. I'm working with the same group of folks, the same research organization, to get cognitive process therapy put into a man-portable package. And then I want to take it to the Veterans Administration and to the Department of Defense and say, hey, we can prevent PTSD. And I call that my true grit moment, you know.
Right.
Remember when Rooster Cogburn's on his horse there at True Grit, and he's sitting there saying, telling him, hey, I don't have a fight with you, but I will take you guys out anyways. And the guy yells back at him, hey, that's mighty bold talk for a one-eyed fat man. Well, I got both my eyes, but it's kind of my true grit moment, you know, when I can turn around and I can say with confidence that I think we can prevent PTSD. We just need to teach folks, you know, especially the new service members at the universities, the ROTC levels, the basic trainings, you know, instead of doing suicide prevention that we do in the military where you sit around and you talk about suicide, why not have a program that we can put together that can actually have tangible uses and people can actually put things in the process. You counsel yourself, you know, so you're a self-counselor. You can analyze things and go, why am I thinking this way? And it helps, you know, and I know the program works itself because when I was doing one of the programs up in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, my father passed away, and I was with my dad when he passed away. Just 2 days before I rolled out on the event, I go up and do the event. The middle of it, I had to come back to Tyler for my dad's funeral, and then went back. And then fast forward to June, I'm with my mom. She had to have a section in her colon and her intestines removed because of a blockage. And they brought her out of surgery. She goes, hey, I know you've got to catch a plane to go on your deployment. You have things to do. I'll be fine. Go. So I went and got on a plane, flew to India, wasn't on the ground 3 hours. Go back to the Department of Defense. Hey, everything's good. Let me go back to do my mission. They send me back. I do my mission for the next 3 weeks, get done with that mission. I come back to the U.S. We're planning my parents' funeral or their internment. We already had the funeral. So we're doing their internment, and then my dad's sister passes away. Jeez. So just bam, bam, bam. You know, if I had not gone through the program, if I was still dealing with my PTSD, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah, right.
So, but I'm at a point in my life where I can turn around and now talk about it, whereas I would never have talked about this kind of crap, you know, 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
I love the work that you guys are doing. I think it's awesome. And obviously what you guys are doing there with UVETS too. And it sounds like you're just out there obviously trying to help people and better their lives, and whether that's through employment or your foundation as well. And it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I mean, it's next level, right? Like most of the people that we have on the show, we talk about best practices in business, right? You know, and they're all contractors. For the most part. And so there's that, but I mean, we're talking about, yes, you're a contractor, you're a contracting company, but we're talking about how, especially with your background in the military, how to better people's lives, especially like you mentioned before, those that are still here, those that are living, those that have to deal with the loss and family and all the, you know, then, you know, in your experience, those other elements of death that start to that can compound upon that. But I love that we're talking about these next level
actions.
Yeah, not even that. That's not even a good word, a good phrase. Something deeper, better, bigger, you know, than just running a business. Because at the end of the day, you know, people are people. We have to deal with each other on a daily basis, especially in today's day and age with so much division, and whether it's whatever on the political side or just on the business side. I love that you in particular and your team are making an effort to make a difference that's positive and good in what seems to be this very dark world. It's awesome. I do a daily soapbox, I feel like, and that's my soapbox for today.
Hey, that was an awesome soapbox, man. You know, we just had a guy that came in and he sent in, he goes, "This is awesome. I miss that camaraderie and, you know, and being able to be a part of a team again." And, you know, and that's the hardest thing for us transitioning. You know, you get out and you don't have that team structure. I mean, the hardest thing for me with the transition was, what the hell do I wear?
Nobody's telling me what to wear.
My wife dresses me, you know, it's like, I grew up for 25 years wearing Garanimals, man. Let's see. I'd get up in the mornings. It's like, all right, I got to put my PT uniform on. What am I going to wear? The gray shirt or the black shorts, or the black shorts and the gray shirt? I think I'll wear the black shorts and the gray shirt. Go do PT, come in. Am I going to wear the OCPs or the OCPs? Yeah, I think I'll wear those in the tan boots today. I mean, none of that actually occurred. I mean, you just grabbed it out of the closet and put it on and went to work.
Yeah.
Your civilian, it's like, what am I supposed? I had to ask the first employer I had. You know, I told you about Scientific Research Corporation. I asked the guy. He goes, "You got any questions for me?" I said, "Yeah." "What do I wear?" So he goes, "Business casual."
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that? So then I learned what Kohl's was. So all right, so I guess I guess I'm plugging Kohl's now. But
yeah, right.
It was, my wife took me and I spent 4 hours. I was in a dressing room thing, and she was,
clothes, huh?
"Here, try this," and I'm like, "I'm done. Quit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore." You know, but hey, she's taking really good care of me doing this stuff. I mean, hell, I wouldn't have known to put on a blue shirt with gray slacks and gray socks and with a blue t-shirt. You know, there's no telling what the heck I would have worn coming in. So it's just those things that you're like, you take for granted. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to have? You know, and in your closet, you have none of this stuff. Well, now my closet's packed with civilian clothes now. So I still have my uniforms packed in there too. So I got to make some room at some point in time.
That's awesome, man.
Don't get rid of the uniforms.
Yeah, no, don't.
No. I mean, I still haven't figured out when to take these things off.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
I still have my tags. I still wear them, and they get put on every morning, you know, and I still have, you know, this is CW4 Chuck, or CW3 Chuck Fortenberry. He and another buddy of mine, Rex Kenyon, were killed April 11th, 2004, which was Easter Sunday in 2004. And then this is Chief Warrant Officer Matt Salter. He passed away December 26th, the following year. And Matt was like my big brother, and three of us were best of friends.
Yeah.
And so these things I've had, you know, they've got a little wear on them.
Yeah.
And I've had those since then, and they never come off. I've had a couple of surgeries. I've had to take them off for that, but outside of that, you know, they never come off. And you know, I drive a HD 3500 pickup truck, which I know most Californians would go, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible."
Mine's a 2500. It's okay.
Sweet. I
There you go.
A little air bump there. You know, my retirement present from my wife and about 5 or 6 of my friends, they wrapped my truck for the Apache Warrior Foundation.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And on the tailgate, it's got all but 6 crews on the tailgate that have been killed in the aircraft. So I got to get my tailgate redone. And
that's
but
rad.
it's, you know, it's 80 plus names that are on there, and we've got a opportunity. A guy from the UK who was a maintainer on Apaches reached out to me and goes, "Hey, we'd like to start a chapter over here." So
that's cool.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how do you do that, and so because there's rules and regulations in other countries, and then you got to talk to the every illustrious IRS to make sure, what paperwork do I have to file in order to do this? And
she's just asinine, right? I mean, we're just trying to help people, and we got to go through all the red tape first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, hey, we make the money over there, but I want to keep the money over there to do their stuff, and do the same type of programs, the fishing, and hey, we want to do some Operation Reconnect with the British guys. Hey, let's load them up and bring them over and go down and have some fun. But it's just whatever, it's just trying to expand. And so I just want COVID to go away. I'm tired of it.
Right.
And,
I think we all are.
I just survived it.
Yeah.
I just got through it. I'm good now. Well, still got
I can tell.
I was going to say, I still got a little bit of a cough, as you can tell, but
you're negative. Yeah,
negative
on the other side.
All good. Made it through the other side. Well, Alan, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to all the things you're doing over there and all the help you guys are doing. So before we do, we want to let you obviously want to let you plug your business, UVETS there, and how they get a hold of you and how they can find you, and more importantly, how they can get a hold of your foundation and help and support in any way. Well,
if I'm UVETS, you can get a hold of me at 817-451-6162. And my extension's 307, or you can talk to Diana. She'll answer the phone. But that's 817-451-6162. Or you can reach me at AH-Hahn. It's Alpha Hotel November. So first initial, last name.
Yep.
At UVETsolutions.com. And that's how you get a hold of me here for UVETS. For Apache Warrior Foundation, it's my first name, Allen, and my last name is the second part of it. So it's Allen Hahn at AWF, Alpha Whiskey Fox, and then AH, Alpha Hotel, 64, the number 6 and the number 4.com. So it's Allen Hahn at AWF, AH-64.com. And you can get a hold of me there, or you can find me on Facebook. We're on Facebook as Apache Warrior Foundation. You send a message to us there. We answer. We're pretty good at answering within 24 hours or less. We also have administrators that are on there that monitor stuff for us as well. You can go on there. You can see all of our crews that have been killed since 1984 when the Apache started first flying. In fact, our first deaths in the aircraft were a U.S. Marine and U.S. Navy guy.
Yeah.
And neither one of those two organizations fly the Apache. So
yeah.
They were test pilots, and they were doing a videography with a Bell photographer and another aircraft, and one of the aircraft hit another aircraft, and that one crashed. So that was our first fatalities in the aircraft. And we've got a lot of stories there. You can see unit patches on Facebook. We've got one of the largest repositories of all the unit patches, chest patches, unit posters. You can see some of those behind me up on the wall. That one right there is a unit poster. So you can find us there, and it has all of our information online as well. So reach out if you get a chance. Check out Apache Warrior. We were actually San Diego International Film Festival in 2017. Yeah. We were out there for that. We won that one.
That's awesome.
Right after we had been out to Daytona 500, we were the Apache Warrior 500 at the Daytona Raceway. And that was Dale Earnhardt's last race as the NASCAR driver at Daytona.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to be out there for those types of events. And so check us out. You got any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to respond.
Awesome.
Thanks, Alan. It's been fun, man.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Really appreciate you, man.
All right. Appreciate your all's time, and thanks for the invite.
Have fun. Stay safe out there.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
You too. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Alan.
All right. We'll see you.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.